Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Blu-rayDave back with another episode of the Mr. Blue podcast. This is episode 2. Um, I finally, binge watched Marvel's Inhumans. It's been 6 years since its TV run, and this was actually the first time I actually watched the finale because I never got to watch it. I've kind of explained it in little bits and pieces and little details on the channel, but I'll explain why. So yeah, to me this has aged pretty well. Like, oh man, it still holds up to this day. Again, at least to me, because every episode was enjoyable and watchable. I really don't understand why people just hate this show. Like, I had to do some research, so I apologize in advance if I don't remember anybody else's names, or if you guys know the stories on what I'm going to be talking about kind of briefly here, then you'll know why, or like you'll pick it up so quickly. Yeah, it's an 8 episode series. Were they planning it to just be a limited series? But before we get into that, in 2014, when Kevin Feige announced the Phase 3 slate of the MCU, the Inhumans was supposed to be a feature film. But the guy who, I guess, used to run Marvel Entertainment, again, I apologize, I don't recognize the names. Like, this is the first time I've heard about this. He was so protective about the Inhumans. I believe it was Kevin was supposed to report to him every time, but since then, like, Kevin reported back to Bob Iger from now on, and I believe he's still doing that now because Bob Iger's back, of course. Yeah, and I guess the guy who was so protective about the Inhumans, right? He wanted the X-Men to be involved, right? But you guys gotta remember, this was a time when Disney couldn't do that at the time because, before they bought Fox, this was 4 years before they bought Fox, because, of course, they owned the rights of X-Men and Fantastic Four, right? I mean, yeah, like, watching the show, it felt a lot like X-Men too, like there were some similarities. I understand that the comics didn't do so well, but like I felt like with the TV show here, it did in my own personal opinion, perfect representation of the Inhumans, right? Like, oh my gosh, like Black Bolt is still my favorite Inhuman to this day, and of course he's the king, right? Man, so what you're seeing on the screen right now is another Reddit post that somebody made a custom Blu-ray cover of what we could have gotten, the Blu-ray physical release of Inhumans. I mean, at least that one could have been an Amazon exclusive too. See how well that would have done. I haven't heard anything yet, guys. But again, was Inhumans supposed to get a second season then? Now, I don't mind if they do reintroduce the Inhumans, just as long as they keep the actors and actresses, because, oh man, everybody did great. Now, for Maximus, guys, like, oh my gosh, he is such a prick, though. It bothered me for 6 years that he looked very familiar, like the actor, like, and I had to do my research, like, remember the bully from Shark Boy and Lava Girl? He looks exactly like the kid, but unfortunately, he's not the same kid, and the guy who played Maximus in the series, he's British, so, yeah, there's no connection there. Oh man, Medusa, Just my one beef with with her character here is that, like, due to budget restrictions, they had to cut off her hair, and they cut it off in the first episode. I mean, of course she was wearing a wig, but you could still use practical effects. Like just let her keep the wig on and then use the CG for necessary scenes, right? You don't. The hair does not need to be CG. Like, this is the problem that I have with some of the other MCU projects. Like, like they overuse the CG, right? Like, take the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, right? Like, we all know that he's wearing an actual suit, but they waste so much money on the CG with the suits. Like, no. The only thing you gotta worry about, again, with Spidey's suit, for example, just focus on the eyes and, what is it, the little spider emblem that comes out of his chest. Like, you get what I mean, right? Just, oh man, even like looking at the behind the scenes of the trilogy of that, like the suit looks perfect. And even on Civil War, they used like the concept suit, and they used a mocap suit. Like, again, that wasn't necessary. And even for the Iron Spider suit and the integrated suit, they could have made real suits. Anyways, but yeah, I liked Medusa. Man, that hot scene though in the first episode though. She's like the MCU version of Rapunzel, really. And Lockjaw, like, I mean, you gotta be crazy if you don't like Lockjaw, like the dog. Like, who doesn't want a teleporting dog, for Lord's sake? Like, I want a teleporting dog. Like, that was like he's like the cutest dog ever right now. Like, oh my gosh, like it makes sense to, like, spend the budget on the dog. They could have used him in more scenes too. And I forgot, after all these years, they partnered with IMAX Entertainment. Like, they used IMAX cameras for this series to make it cinematic. Well, then again, it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I'm honestly, also happy to say that this show is still canon to the MCU, because ever since season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., when they really introduced Inhumans, like, they made the Inhumans relevant. Like, I want to get to my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Review about the whole series. Like, what do I think about it, like, now that I finally watched it? Yeah, I'm just looking at the timeline of when, because I believe, didn't Inhumans, like, I know Inhumans came out November 2017, right? Like, didn't that come out first before the new season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came out? Like, again, I'm looking at the timeline here. So yeah, season 5 started 2017, like late 2017. So Inhumans could have started first. Or what a show does is that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 5 probably started first. Again, I should have done more research, but like, and then you get the mid-season finale, and then you bring in Inhumans, and then bring back Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Again, I just liked how, like, again, ever since season 2, like, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has made Inhumans more relevant, adds a bigger plot to it. And I loved how they don't reference S.H.I.E.L.D., but they reference, like, past events of what happened. And I thought I thought this series took place in New York, but, like, it takes place in Hawaii, like, and they keep bringing up Markiplier's birth state, or is it safe to say that Oahu, which is the third island of Hawaii? If you saw Markiplier's Draw My Life, man, can you imagine if Markiplier was in there? And hopefully he's seen this show. He'd be like, "Hey, that's where I was born." So yeah, I still have a huge respect for Inhumans, and I'm happy that I did this in one sitting, because it's an 8-episode series, like I said, and they're all 44 minutes, the episodes. What else? Oh man. Now this begs the question, how come the Inhumans didn't help out the Avengers? Like, of course, well, okay, they at the season finale, they went to California, right? Like, all 1,400 of, like, the population. Um, again, hopefully they'll bring them back and then they'll explain like why they haven't like at least give the Inhumans a better excuse than the Eternals. Like, oh, how come the Eternals weren't around? Like, oh, we can't affect the events or the timeline. Like, okay, Eternals. Like, again, give the Inhumans a better excuse. Okay, now how does this affect my viewing of Black Bolt in Multiverse of Madness? I only saw that film once last year, guys, and I was shocked to find out that it's the same guy who played Black Bolt in the series, like from the series. Unfortunately, though, they had to kill him off, right? And I I don't believe that this is like our Black Bolt. Like I'm pretty sure it's just like maybe like the 838 Black Bolt, because that one's more comic accurate. Man, I want to get like a Black Bolt like torso now. Like, oh my gosh, just like watching this series. Yeah, it's a shame that they killed him off. It was a pretty stupid way too. Like I agree with everyone like how Mr. Fantastic told Wanda what they were doing. Like, this is Black Bolt. Like he can take you out with one single voice from his mouth. And oh man, that was just so fricked up. Like how Wanda like made him kill himself with like using his own voice to take him out. Again, I haven't read the comics, but is there a point in the comics where Black Bolt like they allow him to talk, like they just kind of have like a device for him to, allow him to talk, and then he could still use his superpower? Like, oh my gosh. Oh man, like, okay, so here was my problem when this aired on TV. This They do this every single time with every TV show in general, guys. I'm not kidding, and I'm pretty sure you guys got sick of this too. The trailers leading up to the second to last episode, they're like, oh, only a few more episodes left until like this is the last episode until the season finale. Like, that is the last episode, like the season finale. You cannot tell me the second to last episode is the last episode. Like, what, are we supposed to treat the finale like a movie? Like, oh my gosh. I missed out on the last episode when these aired. Oh man, I was just so upset. Seriously, bring the Inhumans back. Again, they could turn this into a movie officially, like without the original guy in the way now. Like, oh my gosh, like I'm happy that Kevin doesn't have to answer to him anymore, because there were so many control problems too as well. Like again, I love this show. What would I rate it? It's not a 10 out of 10, but like I said, I enjoyed every episode, but I don't know, maybe like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Like, oh my gosh, like to me it's that good, guys. Like, oh man. Again, I don't know what your guys' thoughts and opinions about Inhumans, but like I will love to know, okay? Like, this is a topic of discussion here, guys. Like, what do you think of this show, and how do you think they portrayed Black Bolt in Multiverse of Madness? Like, oh man, Black Bolt needs justice. Like, we need the real Black Bolt to come back. So, again, Secret Wars, So, apparently, recently, guys, Kevin Feige just announced that, everything that was pre-MCU and, like, the TV shows, like, okay, they're all canon. Like, okay, whatever was made in Disney, again, this depends, is still canon. Like, I do not count, excuse me, guys, I do not count The Runaways, Cloak and Dagger, and Hellstrom, because those are all Hulu originals, right? Oh gosh, I hope I don't get to watch like Runaways, because I know that's on Disney Plus. But like, at least like in the Marvel Studios book that Kevin released a couple years back, he did say, like, again, Agent Carter, that was the first name drop that he said in the book. Like, Agent Carter is still canon, so that was the first one. And after watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., again, I want to get into this when I do my full review on it. That is still canon, guys, because again, like, in the MCU, the multiverse can still happen. Like, whatever they make in the multiverse, like, it's cool. But as far as the pre-MCU stuff, nuh-uh. Like, until Kevin, like, for Disney Plus, put something like the pre-MCU stuff in the MCU timeline, I'm just, nah. And with the Netflix shows, those are still canon, that's for sure. Yeah, it's pretty rare now for the MCU stuff to bring in TV characters. Like, again, you got in Endgame, you got the human version of Jarvis that was in that was from Agent Carter, and oh my gosh, season 7 of S.H.I.E.L.D. might be my favorite because, oh man, they brought back Peggy's old partner. I forgot his name, but he was just so cool, and the fact that they brought him into the main timeline, like, yes, we better see him. Like, that was a good crossover. Like, Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. crossing over, like, oh my gosh. Again, the possibilities are endless. And again, with Black Bolt, like, you got him in Multiverse of Madness, and then you got, like, some of the Netflix characters showing up in the movies, and the Disney Plus shows, like, oh man, like, I am so close to completing my MCU collection now, guys. Like, now that I've gotten Luke Cage, now this month, WandaVision does come out this month, later this month, though, and I still gotta get the next 3 seasons of S.H.I.E.L.D., that's when, like, I don't know, I'll be caught up, and, like, you know, with the Marvels, well, it's possible that we're gonna get, February Blu-ray release date, which, you know, I'm fine with, because, here's the thing, I'm not desperate to go see the Marvels, like, on day one, like, I want to see it at some point, but hey, if I don't get to see it in the theaters, at least I'll have the opportunity to buy the Blu-ray next year, right? So, like, yeah. To me, like, the Marvels is not a big deal, like, and I've heard ticket sales aren't doing pretty good, like, you can tell this is going to be a really decent movie, you know? It might do better than the first Captain Marvel, I don't know. So yeah, now that I've watched the series, Disney, I hope you realize that, at least if I'm the first person on Disney Plus here to care about this show, at least, again, please experiment with this. Like, you know how you're releasing the Disney Plus originals on Blu-ray? Well, again, this could be a perfect opportunity to release some of the other ABC shows. Like, oh man, I'm so glad I gave this a watch. Like, please, just release it for, like, an experiment. Like, seriously, I will buy it, whatever format you put it on. Like, Steelbook, regular Blu-ray, I don't care. Just release it. Man, like, oh man. When I was watching the 7 episodes that I did watch, guys, it there were some scenes that were familiar, but it also brought back good high school memories too. Like, me being 17 and watching the episodes, like, what were they, came out, like, it wasn't every Tuesday, right? No, was it every Friday? Was it every Friday, guys? Because I believe S.H.I.E.L.D. had the Tuesday slots, but Inhumans got the Friday slots, right? Because I remember, like, convincing my mom every time, like, can I watch this episode? And then we'll go on with our family movie night. Like, oh my gosh. Man. Again, what a great time to be an MCU fan, guys. Like, oh my gosh. Like, if you're bored out of your mind, you want something to watch, at least give Inhumans a watch, okay? Like, I can't force myself to hate this show, like, again, regardless of how people feel about it, because, again, there was a lot of negative stuff with the show, but like I love it a lot, guys. And the fact that Scott Buck created this, like again, he created Marvel's Iron Fist, right? So both of these shows came out the same year, but just like different month spans. Like again, Iron Fist came out March, and then this show came out in November. Like I could see how much like hard work Scott Buck was putting into this show as well. Like, oh man. I remember when I first heard of the concept of Inhumans, I thought it was stupid. I'm like, I'm not going to go see this movie, but then I gave it a chance, especially when they announced it to be a TV series. Like, oh man. I actually thought they were going to kill off Maximus again just because of how a prick he was. Like, again, like if Kevin wants to bring him back, you know, at least give him a redemption arc, you know, and don't make him a prick. And yeah, this could be a perfect opportunity for both the Inhumans and the X-Men to cross over, you know? Again, give Inhumans a redemption arc, you know? At least for you guys, you know, like for me, like I love this show. How many times have I said that? And TVPG, oh my gosh. No, there were a couple of adult themes in this, so this should have been TV 14, you know. At least this show wasn't graphic at all, like Agents of Shield was, or or the Netflix shows. Yeah, and I want to get the new MCU timeline book, just whenever I can, you know. Like, there's so much stuff that I'm missing out. I already have the MCU visual dictionary and the character encyclopedia. Now, like, I need the Marvel Studios book, and again, the timeline book. Just stuff that is relevant to the MCU, you know. Yeah. What else can I say? I mean, this show again, like this show is not a masterpiece. I mean, they did what they had to do, and like, yeah, I love it. Like, please bring back Lockjaw. Seriously, my sister recently for my birthday, she gave me a Marvel shirt, like you know those classic comic book styles, and Lockjaw was on it. Like, oh man, now I really gotta watch Inhumans. So again, guys, give Inhumans a watch because it's. For me, it was definitely worth my time. Like, oh man, this show is so good. Like, again, this definitely came out when Thor Ragnarok was coming out. Man, we had 4 good Marvel shows to come out, and again, this was definitely one of them. Technically 5 if you want to count Agents of Shield. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much what I have to say, guys. So, thank you so much for listening to my opinions about Inhumans. I didn't really want to cover every episode, but I thought this would be a good episode for a podcast. And I will turn the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. review into an episode on the podcast as well. But let me know what you think in the comments. Like, leave your suggestions in the comments below what else I should do for the podcast. I'm open to any suggestions, really. So you guys know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Please on the post notification bell for my content if you haven't already. And yeah, tell me in the comments, what do you think of Inhumans? Alright, again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, and may the Lord be with you guys. Always love you guys. Peace out, guys. Remember, Avengers Assemble. Alright, you have a good night, guys. Bye.